What's up, y'all? My name's Sean, for those of you who don't know me yet, and that was the Cameronian. I don't really know a whole lot more about that tune other than the fact that I've heard it played by a bunch of folks, most recently by Daydanon. Now, I'm going to be playing this primarily on the keyless flute. You can play it on the whistle if you want. You can play it on a keyed flute. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I might do with the keyed flute differently than I would with the keyless flute, but no reason you can't just play this on the whistle. Notes are all the same, and it's in the very whistle and flute friendly key of D, which is handy. But it's a good, not terribly common session tune, I suppose, but I like it because it's both deceptively simple in the first part and deceptively complicated in the second part, which is kind of cool and somewhat unusual, I think. So let's break it down. That's the whole thing. Now, before I repeat, I'm going to run that again so you'll get another crack at it. But there's a couple of ways to play this. Some folks, I learned playing this tune A, B, B, I guess, but the B part is technically longer than the A part. I just recently heard Daydanon's version, and they doubled the A part, what I would consider doubling the A part to make it the same length. Either way is fine. When I did it in the beginning, I just did A, B, B, I think. But it was, again, effectively the A part was half as long as the B part. So here we go again, A part. Now the B part is deceptively complicated. Goes into A for a chunk of it, bounces around between the octaves. So here's the basic melody. Starts on a D. Well, just got to pick it up. We'll just stop there and we'll kind of break that down. I'll run that again. So we got a couple of things working. We got those arpeggios in the key of A. We got a triplet up to the D. A lot of stuff happening. So hopefully you're able to pick that up, play it at that tempo. Here's the second half. I know that's a lot of notes. I'm gonna try and do it again here, so hopefully you'll get it. So that's the whole bit. So you can see how, it's like twice as long as the A part. So we'll put the whole thing together. Maybe that might kind of help lock it in, I hope. So here we go. Whole B part. Working ornaments into this, since the first part is so simple and fairly expected, you can have some fun with that. I kind of like bouncing those arpeggio notes, those strongest beats of the arpeggio notes, and doing double something. In this case, I start with a double cut on the A, or sorry, a short roll. Kind of a cool exercise too, just getting those arpeggios right. And then when I hit that F sharp, that double tap there just punches it up a little bit. So when I hit that G, do that kind of cool crossing noise, it's just really one of my favorite things. It's just a great sound. And then as I land on the E, jumping right into a long roll. So, sort of. You're already on the E, and then you do a short roll on top of it, so I don't know what you call that. And then back around. Again, short roll on the A. So the same thing there, double tapping the F sharp and doing the short roll on the A, that kind of same doubling thing on the main notes of the triad. And then the same kind of rolling off of that G. And a lot of doublings on that F sharp. So I'm popping that G just like I did the first time through, going straight into a double tap on the F sharp. That's it in slow motion there. So then I cut it as I come back to the F sharp again. Sorry, cut the G and then double tap the F sharp again. That's the only one of those double tap notes that I can do really well. If you can get them on other notes, by all means use them. I kind of have my weird workarounds for it, but that's where I like to put it. B part has lots of triplet opportunities. Right off the bat, you're going from an A. Now you're going from the bottom D. So you can triple it up to the D. And using that C natural popping effect. I like to throw a cran in there. Certainly an optional thing. Don't really have to, but I just that rhythmic thing just seems to fit that tune so well, I think, the triplet up to it. So another triplet, coming back down to the A and then right back to it. Nothing really there other than cutting that G. So I'll cut the G, double tap the F sharp, which hopefully sounds familiar. We just kind of, that's how I finished up the A part. And then a triplet down, which I don't know if I've ever specifically talked about. It just doesn't come up that often. Other than, I guess, you kind of cut that first note. You're trying to simulate the same effect as you would going up the flute as you would coming down. Where you kind of fake that rhythmic bump on the first note, I suppose, right? So, nothing there. Although I will use some breath control techniques, I suppose, to accent those. And that's just, one of those stupid flute tricks that sounds pretty cool. I think that's one thing that does sound a little bit better than it would on the whistle, where if you're playing that, I shouldn't say better, different. It's got its own kind of vibe when you're playing it that way. But certainly using breath control in the whistle just sounds kind of jerky to me, to my ear anyway. Whereas here, it's just got that kind of neat barking sound, what I call barking sound. I don't know. One of those things that I think is just cool about the flute. Another triplet there. I use those a lot. That rhythmic thing in particular just seems to suit it. And then coming out of it, again, the same double tap on the F sharp. And I use that a bunch on that kind of, it's not really an arpeggio, I guess, because it's not a triad. It's 3 notes. Every time I hit that F sharp. Every time I do that, I'm double tapping it. I think that's really all I'm doing ornaments-wise. Oh, as I land on the E, popping that F sharp finger off. I just like throwing in ornaments in slightly odd rhythmic choice spots, rhythmic places. I think it sounds cool. That's why I did that. And as you come back from the C natural to the D, you can kind of do that same double tap thing where we're sort of faking a cran. Or you can almost use both fingers to do sort of a double cut, if you want. So coming down from the top octave, I keep it fairly simple. All I'm doing is cutting with the top finger each one of those high notes as it kind of falls down the scale. and then just the only accents there would be on the A. Popping that top finger off, that's when I do on the whistle all the time. I don't do it as much on the flute just because that angle is a little tricky and I'm simply not as good at it, so I don't always use it. Seems to be working tonight though. So I hit that, and then I hit that same double tap on the F sharp. Hopefully you're picking up on a theme. That's like the main ornament. That and the triplet are the main ornaments of this tune. It's like Sesame Street. This tune brought to you by the ornaments double tap and triplet.
Oh, one more thing. Sesame Street was brought to you today by the letter.
Now, if I were playing on a keyed flute, there's not a whole lot I would change, really. The only one I can think of off the top of my head is really the beginning note. Apologies if this is not in tune, I haven't really bothered, and it's a bit cold, but as you come back to that A, sliding off the G sharp, it's kind of a little cool blue note effect. Otherwise, you can play it keyless flute or tin whistle. It's going to be almost exactly the same. And that's it. That's how I play it. It's one that I wish would come up more often. I don't really get to hear it that much. Well, don't get to hear a whole lot at all these days because there's no sessions happening. But maybe if more people are playing it, it'll become more common. And that would be a good thing for sessions, I think. So hopefully you guys dig this tune. Let me know. I'll see y'all in the next one. Cheers.